Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Psychic medium Jennifer Hall here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm happy to have you here, and I'm really excited about this video because I'm hoping that it can shed a little bit of light about spirit communication. So as you can see from the title of the video, I want you to figure out what your spirit language is. And I'm hoping that once you kind of can shed some light on this, that you'll be able to really start reestablishing that communication with your loved ones on the other side, the spirit world around you, and really have some confidence in the way that you communicate with them, but also in the way that you receive their messages. So let's get right to it. Welcome to Spirit Speaks with Psychic medium Jennifer Hall. First, I want to kind of just preface by saying that we all have different ways of communicating with each other in this physical body, in this physical world. We have obviously language, we have communication through verbal language, we have sign language, we have body language, we have all sorts of different ways of communicating with each other. And I want you to kind of explore this a little bit, maybe even just take a day and just sort of see how you're communicating with the world around you and interacting with the world around you, and especially with the loved ones in your life. Because I guess my whole point around this video is to let you know that even though when somebody makes their transition to the other side, to the non-physical world, of course they don't have a physical body anymore. It completely throws everything that we've known our whole entire lives with these people. It completely throws it out the window, because that's all we know is that physical face-to-face or tangibility around the communication with them. That being said, the deeper portion of the communication, it doesn't really go anywhere. So yes, you know, their physical body isn't there to communicate with you, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other ways that we can communicate with them. So what I want you guys to do is sort of explore. I'm only going to go over 2 different ways that we communicate with each other in this physical world and how that can kind of transition over into communicating with spirit. But there are ample amounts of ways that you can communicate with and interact with the world around you, whether that be physical or spiritual. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt. If something that I say resonates with you, fantastic, run with it, maybe use that, try it out. And if not, all good. Let me know in the comments below maybe how you communicate with spirit or how you know that you interpret the world around you. So let's start off with, as I said, I'm only going to go over 2 different ways of communicating, but the kind of backstory to this is that we all have that communication with each other in the physical world. And what I want you to understand is that it doesn't go anywhere when our physical body leaves, when our physical body dies. So there's the first way, I think this is a very common way, obviously, that we communicate with each other in the physical world, is, you know, in a very visual, tangible way, obviously. So meaning that, you know, we see the person in front of us, or we have these face-to-face conversations. I would always also say that if this is like your primary way or your more comfortable way of communicating with people, you might be a very artistic person. Maybe you communicate with the people around you, with the energies around you through art forms, through painting or drawing, or maybe through words, through stories, through books, through writing, through poetry. Anything that you can kind of tangibly put into words what you're feeling and what your thoughts are, that would be kind of the communication form, I guess, that you're taking on as a primary way of communicating with the world around you. And don't get me wrong, I get that this is kind of the norm for our society, is to communicate in a very visual way or a very tangible way. But for all of you empaths out there, you might communicate in a very different way. So this is where I kind of feel like as if I want you to explore a little bit about how you primarily interpret the world around you. And I mean the physical world, but I also mean the energetic world. So, for example, the second way that we might be able to communicate, or we might tend to communicate with people around us, is through our emotions and our feelings. And again, I know that those empaths out there, you're going to agree with me that you can totally relate to this, that you interpret the world around you more clearly and more thoughtfully through probably not saying anything at all, through sitting next to somebody and just feeling how you feel sitting next to them, or feeling what they feel as they're expressing their feelings and their emotions to you. You're taking that all on. You're relating to them. You're you know, compassioning with them. I don't think that's a word, but you know, there's sentimental feelings kind of being sort of brought out in that energy exchange. So it's less of a tangible energy exchange, more of an energetic energy exchange. And those are two pretty different. I mean, we use both of them throughout our whole entire days, whether you're an empath or not. Everybody does. But what I just want you to do, just humor me for a second and just kind of figure out, like, are you a little less emotional and kind of touchy-feely, not even touchy-feely, but just feely with your communications throughout your day? Is that how you build your relationships? Or are you, like, just more practical, more tangible? You like to converse, you like the physical words, you like to have conversation, that kind of thing. And again, you might be a mix of both, but you'll understand where I'm going with this in just a second. So take a second and just sort of figure that out for yourself. Maybe just take a moment, or even just take a day, and after you watch this video, sort of notice how you're interpreting the world around you as you're communicating with the people in your life. So now that you know if you're more tangible in your communication or if you're more emotional in your communication, I want you to just sort of keep that in the forefront of your mind for a minute, because I want to explain to you a little bit how Spirit communicates with us. And I want you to understand that, again, reiterating the fact that just because they don't have a physical body anymore, it doesn't mean that they're not communicating with us. It doesn't mean that we can't still communicate with them, but also receive their communication back. So let's start with the tangible communicator. So if you're a type of person that, again, you feel very comfortable, you build your relationships around you through very much being present in your body, through art expression, through communicating through your words, that kind of thing, then let's talk about how you might talk to Spirit and how you might receive their messages back. So first, let's talk about communicating with them on your behalf. So, I mean, this could look like you can communicate with them through letters. You can communicate with them through your actual words. So they hear you, they hear us, they know what we're saying. And I've had so much validation around this in my readings before. So please just throw out a little bit of trust and trust me when I say that they definitely hear you when you talk to them. They know, what you're asking. If you're asking and talking to them in prayer form, or if you're just having a conversation and just sort of saying like, oh, hi, like, I hope that you're okay. I hope that everything's all good. So the way that you can kind of reach out to them is obviously through your physical words. You can do that through writing. Like I said, you can write letters. You can draw pictures. You can get other people to draw pictures. If you have kids, this is a fantastic way to allow them to engage in that conversation or that expression with your loved ones on the other side. The coolest part, though, is that Spirit knows how you communicate and how you best receive information. So if you are a very tangible communicator, they're probably going to give you a lot of signs that are very tangible. So you might be the person that sees the cardinal sitting on your fence every single morning, and you're like, oh, hi, Dad. You know that that's your dad sending that cardinal to you because it's a very something that you guys had talked about before. He had a love for birds or whatever, but you see those visual signs. Maybe you find dimes. Maybe you hear music on the radio that relates to the songs that make you think of your loved one on the other side. Maybe literally things in your home will move or be knocked over. To me, that's kind of creepy, but if that's your thing, if that's your jam, fantastic. Ask them to do those things, and ask Spirit, if they haven't already done so, ask them to communicate with you that way, because that is the way that you understand communication. Just say, dear loved one, I really resonate with tangible communication, so please give me some tangible signs. I really want to feel you in a way that I can see, sense, and process with my brain and my physical body. So help me out with that. And I promise you they will. So the second thing that we talked about, obviously, was communicating with the world around us, interacting with the world around us through emotions and feelings. Now, I'm just going to tell you that if you are an empath and this is your primary way of communicating with the world around you, it might be a little bit more difficult to really truly believe and trust the messages that Spirit's giving you. So, but it's just a process, and you can get there and you can trust. So let's say you're the person that you communicate with people through your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions, and you really pick up on all of that energy, the non-physical energy, that's kind of rushing between you and the person that you're communicating with here in the physical world. So this is going to be the exact same thing. This is going to be the exact same way in spirit form as well. So your loved one is now without a body. They are in non-physical energy. They are still going to communicate with you. If they know that that's the primary way that you communicate, they're going to communicate with you through your thoughts and your feelings. And like I said, this is a little bit trickier to trust because you're not seeing the visual signs or the book fall off the shelf. It's more inwards. So you're going to probably get more of those little whispers in your head that probably sound like your own voice. And you're like, oh, it's exactly what my mom used to say to me, but it's my voice, so I'm probably making that up. Or you're going to just know that they're sitting next to you on the couch. You remember how they felt in the physical body. So you know when they show up beside you, whether that's in the car or, in bed at night or wherever. You just know because you feel them and you can't explain it because, we can't really explain the energy world around us. So it's a little bit trickier, like I said, but it's such a beautiful thing because if you can learn to trust and really kind of get into that space of practicing even with the tangible world around you, practice with the physical world, with the relationships in your life with people that are still very much alive, and explore this empath ability a little bit. And then you can kind of take that with some confidence and transition that over to how you receive messages from your loved ones. Like I said, it could be a little whisper in your ear that very much sounds like your own ideas. It could be a brush, like a feeling just kind of that rushes over you, maybe goosebumps all through your body, or like I said, just sort of a knowing and a feeling that they're there. So if you're having difficulty with this, if you're like, okay, yeah, I get that totally, I feel my loved one around, but I can't trust that yet, then you can kind of play around a little bit and start exploring the more tangible world around you. So if you're very much an empath and you're very much into that space, maybe get out of that space a little bit and explore the tangible world. Maybe do something creative, do some drawing, do some writing, do some painting or something, have more communication in a physical, tangible way. And then you can kind of take that and bring it over to the spirit world as well and ask them to give you more physical, tangible signs and just say, I'm practicing with this. Can you just give me a little bit more? Maybe it's a number sequence that you see on the clock, or like I said before, a song or something like that, whatever resonates with you. So I hope that makes sense. Again, just kind of refreshing. I think that there's this beauty behind how we live our physical lives, how we live life, how we communicate and interact with the people and the relationships in our life. That transitions entirely over to what your spirit language is. So is your spirit language more physical, more tangible, or is it more emotional, more involved with the feelings? And once you really grasp that, I truly believe that you're going to have such an easier time understanding when your loved ones are present, when they're around you, and when they have a message for you. So have fun with this. Go figure out how you explore and interact with the energy world around you. Love you guys.